What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on
Welcome to Truth Be Told, where we believe an experience becomes truth. I'm your host, Tony Sweet, along with world-renowned... Welcome to Truth Be Told, where we believe an experience becomes truth. I'm your host, Tony Sweet, along with world-renowned psychic, Eddie Connor. Thank you for supporting our sponsors, Earth Friendly Products. For over 40 years, Earth Friendly Products have brought you the greenest home products for all your family needs. Go to ecos.com, that's ecos.com.
And take your mind on a literary journey by traveling to adventuresunlimitedpress.com to purchase books from many of our famed experts featured right here on Truth Be Told.
American Indians have populated North America for thousands of years, long before the Europeans came and brought their traditions to the natives.
The Native American culture had it right from the very beginning. That is to say that they treated Mother Earth with love and care. Everything was wonderful until the white man gained control of the once Indian nation, causing an imbalance in the spirit of the earth.
Eddie, tonight we will speak with Native American author Ed McGaa, who is sharing a first-hand perspective of the people that once thrived on this land.
Ed McGaa, Eagleman, was born on the Pine Ridge Reservation and is a registered tribal member of the Oglala Sioux. Ed received a bachelor's degree from St. John's University and earned a law degree from the University of South Dakota. He also studied under Chief Eagle Feather and Chief Fool's Crow, both influential Sioux holy men. McGaa is honored by the Sioux for having participated 6 times in the Sundance ceremony. He also served as a fighter pilot in the Marine Corps in Vietnam, flying 110 combat missions in F-4 Phantoms, receiving 8 air medals, 2 crosses of gallantry, and he also was recommended for a Distinguished Flying Cross. Ed is the author of 12 books, and his latest book is Warrior's Odyssey, Spirit of Crazy Horse. Please put your hands together for our Truth Be Told guest, author Ed McGaa, Eagleman.
Welcome to the show, Ed. Ed, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Well, you know, this is something that I know most of us, like Eddie and Anna and myself, we're very passionate about, because you are right in many of your books, or all your books, about, you know, the white man really did kind of put an imbalance in the spiritual world. And I want to know, before we get really deep into your books, I want to know how you got started and interested in writing books, because a lot of people have ideas, a lot of people can tell great stories, but they don't know how to put it on paper. How did you get started writing?
Well, it was pretty easy, because I happened to be born a Sioux, and Ogallala Lakota is a technical academic correct word, but a lot of us prefer to be called Sioux, S-I-O-U-X, because it means enemies. And we were damn good enemies. We killed eight soldiers for every warrior that we lost. I regret that they were just plain soldiers. I wish the hell we could have killed 8 politicians.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, we were good. And, of course, the white man was so damn stupid. It was unbelievable, and he is still stupid. He turned down the Winchester 15-shot repeater because of the corruption in the War Department. And so Winchester had made 2,000 thinking, oh, we're going to sell. This is back before the Civil War, 1856. A guy named Henry, a gun mechanic, invented it, and Winchester bought the patent, kicked out 2,000, went to the War Department, and they knew that the worker was coming up from the South. and the War Department turned them down. And Springfield Arms, with money under the table, they were experimenting with their rolling block single shot 45-70, and so they killed Winchester's chance of supplying the Army with a superior weapon. Had the South done it, the South would have won the war. The Civil War would have lasted probably about a year if they would. You always have to have excuses when you have subterfuge, untruth, and plain old corruption. Oh, it would have used up too much ammunition. BS. Anyway, we wound up getting it, and we just decimated. And plus the fact that we rode our horses Mongolian style with both hands free. They call it equestrian riding nowadays. And we had that advantage, both hands free. The War Department had 45 caliber pistols. Well, guess what caliber the Winchester used? 45 caliber. Every time we knocked a soldier off his horse, we had a horse, we had a dead soldier, we had a pistol, and we had all kinds of 45 caliber ammunition for our Winchester. You couldn't lose. And so we won the Treaty of 1868. My tribe has $1 billion in the bank now because of that. And Chief Red Cloud and Chief Spotted Tail, they have to have a tremendous accolade. Of course, they were put down by your white riders and a couple even of our own Indian riders because, Red Cloud and Spotted Tail kicked the hell out of the Army. Even General Sheridan said, I need more troops. They are killing us 8-1.
Wow.
So about 2,000 of those warriors out there, 2,000 times 8, he said, I'm going to need more than 16,000 troops to finally defeat them. And that's from General Sheridan. So that, with that rich, rich history in my tribal background, and then, of course, your academic Indians are too damn lazy, and they're not spiritual. I've been in the Sundance 6 times. They're turncoats, they're cowards, and they want to keep their little cushy thrones in the universities that they work in. They don't write. And so I have very little competition. In fact, I don't have any competition. In fact, I've been a warrior. I've gone off. I volunteered for my combat tour in Vietnam, put off my law school. I was supposed to go to class of 66, and I didn't do it. I said, I won't do it. A congressman was trying to get me in. I said, no, I got to have my combat tour in first. So that's the kind of guy I am. So then I write from my combat experiences, and I write from real material. And then Dr. Bryan, he's dead now, Father Bryan, at one time interviewed 400 Indians over a period of 20 years in their own language, and then gave me his notes before he died. And Fullscrow and Chief Eagle Feather, they pretty well taught me my Indian spirituality. So I come from sources, and that's why my work is so damn honest and good. I have a lot of advantages. And plus, I'm old now. And being old helps, because I can reach way back.
Well,
so that's the story.
Well, no, that's a great story, and I think a lot of people are very interested in hearing how you got started. And it's amazing to have the resources where you don't have to constantly go and search multiple different locations and sources, because you had them right there with you. And I know we want to know, how did you get the title Eagleman?
Well, when I was a little boy, I was trying to kill a white kid. And the white kid was trying to kill me. We were playing, back in those days, you had those little cap guns. You know, little rolls of cap guns. And you probably don't know it more than but we were just trying to shoot the hell out of each other just for July 4th. And so then Ben Black Elk drives up. Now, he's the son of old Black Elk, the man responsible for Black Elk Speaks, the most widely sold book in Indian book ever. Anyhow, Ben used to come up and talk Indian with my mom and dad. Our mom and dad talk real good Indian, and a couple other Indians around our neighborhood. They'd all come over and sit there at the table and talk Indian. So Ben, he'd come up, and then he's talking to my mom out in the yard. It was a nice day and all that. And I was playing away. And he pointed at me, laughed, and he said, yeah, Hochshila. Wambly Hochshila. Wambly is eagle, Hochshila's boy. He said, that's his name. And so my mom said, she said, get over here. And so I looked up to Mom, and I go, what the hell are you interfering with my cat guns? Hey, I was probably about 10 years old, I don't know. And yes, you know what it is? Yeah, I said, you're Ben Blackout. Hey, he looks at me and he says, I'm giving you an Indian name. I looked at him, so he named it, he said it in Indian. And there's a simple gesture in Indian, is you double up your fist and you flare out your fingers. And she went like that to me. She said. He doesn't even understand his language. And Ben just laughed. I still see a big grin on him in his face. And he said, well, you're an Eagle boy. Oh. She said, you say Kalamia to him. That means thank you. My mom's pretty bossy. And I said, Kalamia. I go back and play with my Eagleman. Yeah, Ben laughed. So about a year or two later, I was sitting at the table one time, and I keep Mom. I said, what that Ben Blackout call me again? She said, you forgot your name. You Wombly Oak Shield. So that was my name. Well, then, when I was a combat pilot and came back in the Sundance, then Ben brought his father's pipe downer and had me carry it. Now, we're pretty serious now. The missionaries are trying to stop us. And he looked at me as a warrior that was going to take them on along with other American Indian Movement members. And he said, I'm going to give you a new name. You've been off to war. You're no longer Eagle Boy. You are Wombly Wichacha. And then Fool's Crow and Ben was great. Those ceremonial tents are a lot bigger than a normal teepee. And they said, oh. And so all three of those men gave me that name before I did my first Sundance. So I got good sources there. Yeah, I got my name from it. And
Wow.
it kind of fits me because I was an Eagle man, you know.
So what will you help us understand, please, Ed, what the significance of the Sundance ceremony is? And we know you were honored to be able to do it 6 times. Will you please explain that to Tony's audience?
See, the Indian was far more spiritual than the white man. The white man is, to put it bluntly, he is not spiritual whatsoever. His religion has nowhere compares to the depth of our spirituality. Our Indian people, back when, all over tribes across America, at least northern America, I can't talk about the Mexican Indians that much, but the northern Indians, hell, democracy came out of the Iroquois. The greatest gift to man, from human to human, is democracy, and it came from the Iroquois. It didn't come from the Greeks and Romans. That is all total BS. Those were slave states, and only a very few rich ones were allowed to be so-called senators. And the women didn't have no vote. They had slaves, all that. That's not democracy. Indians, Iroquois, we had democracy. And then annually, all tribes had an annual Thanksgiving to Ultimate, to Great Benevolent, to Great Mystery, the Great Spirit. We do not try to tell who the Great Spirit is. No one can. No one knows who in hell Ultimate is, but we think it is. Although we will not argue with an atheist. An atheist got a 50% chance of being right or wrong just like us. We don't argue about spirituality. And we do not proselytize. We're like the Jews. The Jews do not proselytize. Jews do not try to tell you who in the hell God exactly is. They don't do that. And Jews do not have devils. The majority, the normal Jews. There's a few sidekick Jews that got Christianity in them, all that stuff. But I'm talking about the majority. I speak in synagogues at times. They tell me we do not proselytize like you. We do not have evil spirits or devils and Satans. I said, yeah, we're all like there. And we're a lot like, I believe, personally, Moses had that experience on Mount Sinai where Creator, not in human form, appeared to Moses on Mount Sinai and gave him the 10 Commandments. And the first commandment Moses gave was, thou shalt not have false gods before thee. That was the number one commandment that Ultimate in a burning bush gave out communication to go to Moses. And we're Indians are the same way. We do not have false gods. We have Creator, but we will not try to say who it is. But yet we honor Creator through annual Thanksgiving. This gets back to Sundance now. So, wild rice harvest, corn harvest, buffalo harvest. Time of plenty is when you do for 4 days in various form of ceremony in honor Ultimate for Thanksgiving. You thank Ultimate for what it has. You notice I say it. I don't say he or she.
Yes.
What the hell, God's going to have a set of nuts on it, or breast, or titties? What the hell is he going to have? He don't have no need for that. It's not repropagate with some great Mama Bama Buana Big Lulu out in the sky. Hell no. So we say it. It has no gender, but it is it. I mean, it's powerful. But anyway, so we annually thank it for 4 days for all that it has done for it. The Pilgrims didn't invent Thanksgiving. Hell, they were just a bunch of unwashed white people that come across and lucked out and made it on a boat. And Indians had Thanksgiving, and they learned Thanksgiving from the Indian people. So Sundance, we simply go out on the plains, we bring in a tree, and we pray for 3 or 4 days, and then we have certain pledgers that I pledge to do the Sundance because I want to come back alive or not be maimed or dead or prisoner of war from Vietnam. So before I went over there, Fool's Go had a ceremony for me, and I beseeched to Ultimate and the spirit forces that are in the spirit world underneath Ultimate, and simply pledged that I would come, if I came back, I would dance the Sundance. And it really worked. A lot of times when you do pledge to do something and give this or that, a lot of times what you desire will come true. So when I was in the Sundance, the one of the Sundance, I said, "What are you here for?" He said, "Well, my little girl drowned in the Morrow River. We couldn't find her body. My wife was going crazy, saying, I can't stand it, but we can't find her body." She said, "You go and pledge to the medicine man. You pledge at Sundance." So he did. He went and said, "The medicine man, I want to find my daughter. I'll do the Sundance this summer coming up if we can find her." So the medicine man had a ceremony. Spirits come in. When you die, you go to the spirit world. You will become a spirit.
Yes.
The good, the moral and ethical ones, and the ones that had looked at this life while they were here are not stupid, they will come into this world and help you in ceremony because they can see ahead of time and they make good, strong predictions. So anyway, this guy went to some medicine man and he said, "I want to find my daughter. I'll dance the Sundance." So he did the ceremony. Sure enough, spirit come in there and they said, "She's in the river." And there's a cottonwood tree that fell over, and it's snagged in the roots. And there's a gate just downstream a little ways with a red sign on, no awning sign. So they looked at that part of the river, and sure enough, they went upstream. There was a fallen over cottonwood, and there was his daughter. Oh. And it's not all. Another guy said, "Well, I'm here because my daughter graduated from college. It took her 5 years, but by God, she made it." I said, "Oh, I'm so thankful. I'm going to pledge to Ultimate." So there's various reasons. My nephew had be my great nephew. They got into drugs and drinking, and my nephew, and he said, "You know, my son got into drugs and drinking, but he went and did Sundance, and now he's straight as he is." He said, "It's been about 10 years now. The kid's got his own business and all that." And he said, "He's okay." My nephew has done 10 Sundances to thank Ultimate for his son doing so well. There's various reasons why we do that, Sundance.
Now, it's not just isolated just to the Sioux, right? This is Sundance is for multiple different type of tribes. Is that correct?
Yeah. And then way back when we were fighting the white man, we definitely danced Sundance every summer because we were beating the white man, and all those warriors pledged, if we can keep beating the cavalry, we're going to be out there Sundance. Red Cloud had a fort surrounded. He was going to win, and they were dying. I mean, they were the water, everything, and ready to capitulate. And the next morning, Red Cloud's troops were gone. Years later, said, "Well, how come you had a sure victory and you left?" He said, "I had a date with God. We had a Sundance schedule. That's more important than killing men." That's Indians think different. We think different.
But Ed, I'm kind of curious. You know, I've been to Pine Ridge. You were born on Pine Ridge, correct?
I was born in Pine Ridge, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's. I had the pleasure of going there last summer and visiting at Wounded Knee, and I took school supplies to Wounded Knee Elementary School and spent a lot of time there, and paid my respects at Wounded Knee. And when we talk about the spirituality, though, you know, the different tribes through the centuries always did fight each other. And how is it that the warrior chiefs were selected through this process? Because how is it that the Native Americans balance spirituality with back then at the time when there were warring tribes where you were warring for everything, for horses, for land, for everything?
Well, you're reading white man history and white man write-up about us. They had no idea what the hell we stood for. In Europe, they fought all the time, and they killed thousands, and they were always trying to take over the other guy's land. In America, before the white man, there was flowing borders. There was no such thing as a border. It was definite lineage or line. A tribe would come in and be there for long, and that was their hunting area. And this border did not exist. It flowed over into the other tribes, and the other tribe flowed over them. That was kind of a no man's land. And at times, they would get into some squabbles, and they would fight each other. Now, we had what you call coup. You could come into battle with another tribe, and if you touched another warrior, he was dead. And he had to pull out, and he'd scream and yell, he's dead now. But then he'd go back to his tribe, and he couldn't fight anymore. And we would have a few casualties, and when that happened, and this all New Guinea and all these tribal places, this is the way war was fought. Even just wounded, and they would pull back, and the battle was over with. It was kind of like their NFL football game. It was a chance to prove themselves a man, and all that. They had these flowing. So if a tribe was pushed out of another area, they would go off, and there was plenty of land that really helped, and they would join with other tribes that were been pushed out. They would join up with 2 or 3 other tribes. They'd come back eventually and push out the ones that would push them out. It was kind of a flowing border thing, and it was also more of a sport, and coup proved this. Well, it didn't work with the Army, of course. We damn well learned that you don't count coup on the Army, you're going to be a dead duck. So for thousands of years, we were a hell of a lot more relatively peaceful than what took place in Europe for centuries. But yet the European can't remit anything. The European will not the European back then. The European we got now is way smarter than the American. You go to Europe, the churches are falling down. I generally go a couple days early.
Well, usually if they're a few centuries old, Ed, they are going to be falling down. I mean, if they're that old.
The Europeans, Western Europe, Germany, and especially Spain and England, UK, they look down on organized religion. And they say to us, are you a Yank? Yeah, I'm here in the petrol state. We don't allow those loonies like you do into our parliament. He's meaning the evangelical types, the Bachmans and the Palins and those idiots, Raphael Cruz. Those people so they're dumber than Catholic fence posts. They're dumber than evangelical fence posts.
Didn't you go to a Catholic university, Ed? Did you end up going to St. John's? Did I read that correctly?
What's that now?
Did I read that you went to a Catholic university? You went to St. John's?
Yeah, because when you're little, you can't beat the shit out of big people. And there's no damn way you can say, I'm not going to do this. You do what big people tell you to do. And big people had me go to church every Sunday. And they had me believing in all the white man's organized religion. But as I got older, my brain, and I started dancing Indian, and I saw those holy men and those holy women, and I saw what they could do. My brain started asking questions. And so then I gradually broke away from organized religion and the religious teachings that I learned at St. John's University. But I was fortunate that I Ben Black Elk coming up. My dad was traditional. I was damn lucky, and of course I was a Sioux, and a Sioux has spent the least time amongst the white men, and so we kept our ceremonies, and we went underground once they banned them on us, and we hung on to our culture and our traditionalism. And by dancing Indian, I worked my way back. It wasn't planned; it was just accidental. Then when I'm going to go to Vietnam, you better believe, 110 missions, a SAM missile knocking me upside down, spinning, and all kinds of crashed. I crashed maybe 5, 6 airplanes. I think I crashed total.
Wow.
And walking away with not a scratch on me, then I believe that my Indian spirituality had power. And I will never go back. Once I had danced 6 Sundances and Vision Quest up on a mountain for 4 days and 4 nights, and seeing the weekly ceremonies, what our spiritual people can do, there's no way I'm going back to the Washitu religion. Absolutely no.
Wow, that is so fascinating. I'm curious to know how, like when you're working with some of the medicine men and medicine women, or the holy men and the holy women, what's the most profound experience? You described some great ones. What are some of the most profound experiences you saw in connection to the spirit world, Ed?
Okay. A lot of people in your audience are not going to believe this, but
I believe it.
When the Indian had connection into the spirit world, but the only way you get that connection is to lead a moral, ethical life, and you respect and you focus, definite focus. The white preachers, the black preachers, and priests, and all that, even over there in Arabia, the mullahs, they're not focused. The medicine people are, and they're humble, and they're truthful, extremely truthful. And by being so truthful, that's what God is. God is all truth. All of God's scientific laws, physics, chemistry, math, etc., they all work, and they are unalterable. So that, we think, means that Creator is all truth and Creator is all knowledge. That's as far as we go. But Creator also is mystery. Anyway, our medicine people are far more focused, and so therefore they have spirit guides. Spirit guides from the spirit world will come into their ceremony and make powerful predictions. If you read my books, Mother of Spirituality, all of them got the finding of 6 bodies out on the plains of Nebraska. An airplane crashed, and the National Guard could not find them. And so then the University of South Dakota brought down a medicine man named Eagle Feather, and he found them within a couple days.
Wow.
Through a spirit guide. And it's all in my book, Mother of Spirituality.
Healing ourselves and our world.
And then Spirituality for America is in Amazon, and it's also on Kindle. So if you look at that spirit ceremony chapter, you will see what medicine people can do. Now, but the churches and Fox News that do not want this knowledge to come out to the world, because they can't do it, and so they keep it hidden. And that's why I'm not the only Indian out there that writes of this stuff. But I'm telling you, I was there. I was in that ceremony, and I saw it. And I tell them what happened. That's it. Simple.
Well, and truth is truth, and truth is simple. And whenever you have an experience like that, you can always read it in the person's energy field that's sharing it. And if you're just tuning in to Truth Be Told with Tony Sweet, I'm Eddie Connor.
I'm Tony Sweet.
I'm Anna Garcia.
And we have with us our esteemed guest, Ed McGaa. Eagleman. He is a Sioux, and he's telling us and explaining with us what I got fascinated with the Sundance ceremony. And I love everything that you're sharing about you being on the reservation. I love the fact that we're on the phone with you and that we're here with Anna, who has been there, and that you have this perspective with non-physical. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. And so I'm also curious, how do you feel, Ed? How much is nature and earth connected to the spirituality of your people versus, we'll say, the white man?
Okay. Well, the white man doesn't include nature at all. The white man, he does. He's totally ignorant about that.
But is that really fair to say? Is that to say that, all different peoples cannot have spirituality? I mean, that's a blanket statement. I think of myself as a spiritual woman. I try to do good. I try to help where I can. I'm also wearing Oglala Lakota Indian earrings that I bought on the reservation. You know which ones I'm talking about, Ed? The circular ones with the mirror in the center.
They're gorgeous.
And I carry a piece of me with me. Do you know what I mean? And I try to live that way. Does that mean I'm not spiritual?
No. You're misunderstanding. There's all kinds of intelligent Washichus, is what we call them, and they are waking up. You go to England, practically the whole country is intelligent Washichu. Spain is the same way. Monasteries, convents, churches falling. Australia, oh God, Australia's more so.
Yeah.
They have seen through organized religion. Organized religion is from man.
Yes.
The black book that they have is all written by man. They lie and try to tell you that God wrote it. What was an IBM typewriter, that little ball, that little head is on a typewriter? God has written a damn thing. And spirituality is based on nature. Nature is creator. Creator makes nature. Nature is an integral part of creator. And so the six powers of the universe in Black Elk Speaks. My next book is Black Elk Speaks 4. Okay. And where I go into the six powers of the universe, the four directions, Tate Topa. The first power to speak to Black Elk was Weo Piata, the west power. The life-giving range. Without the life-giving range, we wouldn't live. Mm. They don't come out of the Pacific, come across our country, and allow the range to feed our crops and allow us to live. And we're mobile only because of water and fluid. And then so the west power spoke to Black Elk, and I'll try to speed this up a little bit. And then north power, the white north, black west, the sun goes down, and it's black. And we need rest. You better get the more rest you get, the more resistant to cancer and all those other diseases. We rarely had cancer. We didn't have Alzheimer's, diabetes, all those crazy damn diseases, arthritis, all that.
That's true. Because
we got tremendous amount of rest. The black west. All right, and the white north, last time I saw snow, it was white as hell, unless somebody peed on it. So white north, it's in the damn city. The white north kicking down, and that's endurance, strength, intelligence. You better put enough food away, and a Sioux is a dried buffalo meat mainly, to get through the winter. And cleanliness. The spring rains come and they wash away the snow, and then Mother Earth becomes clean. About all those. So if you winter over in a teepee, you sweat lodge and you wipe yourself down with sage because you're living in close confine for about 5-6 months. Then the Weo Waze, well, I got the Waze was the north part. And then now Weo Hiapata, the red dawn in the morning comes across. Right now we're trying to park knowledge into your listening audience. Mm-hmm. We're trying to. Today the sun came across and you're giving them knowledge, and you guys are giving knowledge to the world, and I'm really supportive of you. Okay, we'll hear about that. Okay, now we go to Itokaga. It makes grow. South power. There is a south power. The sun comes up higher and higher in springtime, and then it brings growth across our land, and we live and we eat. The grass grows, we get buffalo, et cetera, et cetera. Itokaga. Those are 4 powers that God made. You cannot deny them.
Right.
And the Christians would love to deny this, but they're denying what God made. And then now, this is very powerful. The sky spirit, Ate Makpia Ate, Father Sky, said, all things of the air will be here in a time to come when the Earth Mother will be in extreme danger, and that is right now. And that all things of the air, all the television waves, right now, this radio wave, I'm talking into this black thing, and woof, it's going over to you, and you, God has made it, allowed all these instruments that we have, boom, communication, and we're talking, the audience is listening. All things of the air, and there's waves going through right now. We haven't even heard of them yet. We haven't discovered them yet. Just like 200 years ago, nobody had any idea there's radio waves and television waves, and yet they were there all the time.
Yeah.
So that's an alignment by God. God wants us to communicate. It's obvious. Okay, now the sky spirit. Now the 6th spirit is the earth spirit. Every particle of our bodies are made from air. And she said, look, come, I want to show you what's going to happen. Back in 18, revolution occurred in Black Oak Division. The blue man of corruption, greed, pollution, anti-environment, all that was there down below, and he was destroying. Animals were dying, they were gaunt, they were skeletons, their birds are falling out of the air, the fish were floating to the top of the rivers, the fumes come off the river. That's exactly what's happening now. And that was all predicted in Black Elk's vision. In my book, a couple of months from now will come out, Black Elk Speaks 4, and you'll see it on Amazon. And it explains them. So anyway, those are the 6 powers of the universe, and they are underneath the Great Spirit. Great Spirit allowed that vision to happen, no different than it appeared on Moses up on Mount Sinai. But it is ignored by Washichu. And Washichu is so wrapped up in himself and his materialism, and he lies. He lies. And now, but the smart Washichu is starting to see spirituality. And eventually spirituality will become, I hate to use this term, it's the wrong term, the religion of the world, because religion is from man, but I have to use it to get across to make the Washichu understand.
Yeah.
Spiritually, when all the overpopulation that is happening now, and millions and millions are going to die, because the earth is going to keep on getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And if you're out there in California, you know that.
Yeah.
And you're starting to think it out. And that keep on getting worse and worse and worse as the overall population spiral goes up and up. And as our Congress continually denies it, spends its money on the MIC military industrial complex, and will not spend it on taking the spring runoff out of the Missouri, for example, and sending it back into California and all those other places. And that's where we're at. And as long as they keep ignoring it, we are doomed. Mother Nature wins. You cannot kill Mother Nature. She will not lose. But she is very brutal in her correction. She has to be. So that's where us Indians are at from spirituality.
Ed, do you agree, or can you describe how the jingle dance can be healing? I've seen it and I think it's stunning, but can you describe the healing part of it?
You mean the healing part of the planet for climate change and planetary heating?
No, the jingle dance. It's one of the dances that's done by women, by Lakota women, and I was wondering if you knew much about its healing powers.
No, I don't think any dance is going to. That's my own personal opinion, but I don't think anybody out there dancing around is going to do a hell of a lot of change for the world. I mean, that's pretty much. We're not into superstition. I mean, if we jingle dance, that's fine. That's just entertainment. I danced Indian when I was a young boy, and then on up in my college years. But that's got no effect upon world change.
So that in no way is connected. That traditionally is not connected to any spirituality or any expression of spirituality.
Well, it might be for some tribe or something, but it's not in my tribe. We have jiggle dancers, but they're just entertainment.
That's what it is. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left, and Ed, I really want to know. I just recently, about 6 months ago, I took a DNA test, and I was told that I had Cheyenne, blood in my veins. But the DNA testing showed that I did not have any Native American. But I do feel a big connection to the Native American, their traditions and the spirituality. What can somebody from the white race, what can we do to really start grasping a hold of your traditions?
Well, you read Black Elk Speaks. That's a real good book. And then Black Elk Speaks 2 and Black Elk Speaks 3 are absolute losers because the wrong people got a hold of it and tried to take apart Black Elk Speaks 1. That's the reason why I had to write Black Elk Speaks 4. Read My Mother Earth Spirituality. Read Spirituality for America on Amazon and Kindle. Okay. You got to read because you can't just run on out to reservation and get some sudden knowledge. So I would start with them, and it's not gonna. That's the door for you to open and take a look at it. Simple.
Okay, I love that. Love that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people out there really want to help, and we want to participate in helping to take care of the earth, and I agree with you that we've been taught for so long, history is not correct. The things that we've learned in school were not told to us correctly. Our politicians, that you can see, are corrupt. Our religions are flawed
and falling apart
in front of our faces, and those people are trying to grasp hold of everything they can to keep it. But what do you think is next besides the end of the world? But what do you think is next for us?
You can only deny climate change and planetary heating for so long, and it's happening right now. Antarctica just had a record increase. We know all the signs. And then we got these idiots in Congress. That's going to fall through because doom is going to make it fall through. And eventually, Europe has awakened. I just admire Washichus, the intelligent Washichus in Europe. They are way ahead of the game. And eventually, this Tea Party bunch and these deniers are going to be proven wrong, but only after probably millions of deaths. I mean, overpopulation is exponential, and that will foster knowledge.
Yes.
Once you start starving, and once those Californianites out there start going without their water, you know what? They're going to wake up.
Yeah.
And all the Mexicans overpopulating, they're going to have to. They're going to have to wise up and realize that religion is not their answer. And also, I wish the hell they would start calling themselves Indios instead of Latinos and Chicanos. There is no Latino tribe. There is no Chicano tribe. I asked them, Mestizo? No, that's what I am. I'm half and half. And they put their head down. I said, Indios? No. I say, I pointed my finger to my chest. I say, Orgulloso, El Rojo Indios Norteamericano. Orgulloso, they say, up here we are proud to be Indian. And, they just put their heads down. I said, we will not support you until you start admitting who you are. That's it.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Wow.
Well, Ed, we thank you so much. You're just a wealth of knowledge, and we hope you come back and share more of your wisdom with us. And people, if you're out there listening in, go to Ed McGaa. It's mcgaa.com, Ed, and get his books. Go to Amazon. You can pick them up there. And again, we appreciate you taking the time, and hope you go out and catch some fish here soon. I see you're a fisherman.
Okay, well, I thank you guys for what you're doing too. You're waking up the world.
Well, we're trying and help people like yourself. So thank you for joining us, and come back soon.
Thank you, Ed.
Talk to you soon, Ed.
Good to see you. Thanks a lot for listening.
What'd you say?
I said, thanks everybody for listening.
Oh, of course.
We had a good, interesting conversation.
Yeah, that was great. I've learned a lot. I really did. I learned a lot. All right. Well, have a great day and keep in touch.
I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
All right. That was great. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I am personally surprised by a couple of things. I love your question about the jingle dance. Is that how you? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I actually was watching it, and I was taken by the beauty of the jingle dance. And this was at Powwow, and I'm not suggesting that is spiritual. It's a gathering of Native American tribes. And as I'm watching this dance on Facebook, because I'm friends with her mom, who I met, she from Wounded Knee at Pine Ridge, same place that Ed was born and grew up. And I'm watching the dance, and it's so beautiful. And her mother wrote back to me. She said, some people believe that it has a healing power. You know, it was calming. I guess you could say so is music. Yeah. I think I found some of what Ed said to be very, 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 very broad. It's very hard to...
Some of the blanketed statements.
Yeah.
Like, all white people are stupid.
Yeah. You know, and I wasn't going to get into it with him about, you know, using terms like Latino or Hispanic. You know, I am. And I'm like, well, you want to take me on? Okay. All right. But you're our guest, so I'm going to be nice. But it's about opinions and people being free to express themselves. So I wish I'd heard a little bit more, though, about his spirituality and his journey. And I didn't hear that. I felt like I was, frankly, I felt like I was being lectured to. And I wanted to hear more from him.
I was really curious about that. And as a dancer and a choreographer for years and years, there is a healing frequency with dance. Anytime two or more people come together and they set their heart and their mind to a certain movement, and there's an intention behind that movement, and then more people come into the same dance, the same movement, the frequency of that, if it's pure, becomes exponential. And everyone around can feel it. They sense it. They become a part of the frequency. Even talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps. And that's community for me personally. And women, for me personally, are more powerful than men. And women are more in touch with both their male and their female selves. And Mother Earth is Mother Earth for a reason, I believe. And that's the balance of the male and the female energy. And I could feel how you felt when you were speaking about the jingle dance. And I was surprised by the answer. And I wanted to know more about his personal spiritual path. He's obviously amazingly intelligent. And I love his enclave into, is probably the wrong way to say it, into the spiritual world. And he believes in it so strongly and has that connection to Mother Earth too, that it got him through Vietnam. And lots of other things too, so that he would grow up and then share with the world this knowledge, maybe in a way that is even more inclusive of the Wachichu.
Which, and that's what I found him very fascinating.
Me
And
too.
his,
I'll get his books.
Yeah, his books sound very fascinating. But I did feel the anger towards the white man still to this day, and he has every right to be.
Oh, that I can understand.
Very. I mean,
Absolutely.
I have it too toward the white man.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
Because of what we did to so many people.
Yeah, it makes you
that
sick
weren't
to think.
white.
Yes.
I can't hardly. I mean, I'll start crying. I'm really sensitive about that.
But when you hold spirituality in one hand and the anger in the other, it's like the balance. How do you? I felt like,
where's the balance of the love and the hate?
But I felt a lot of hatred. But I mean, like I said, he's a fascinating guy. Buy his books. I mean, definitely he's had some great mentors, and I think he's gonna be a great guest to have back. But I loved your questions, and I really did.
I just really wanted to know more, and I was so curious when he said that he went to St. John's, because I went to two different schools there at the reservation where he grew up. One is Catholic and one is the public school. And
'cause I know he's the youngest of 8.
So I was curious, you know, they clearly he felt that he was imposed upon, and I wanted to hear more about how he felt about the Catholic Church growing up, and at what point I guess he said in Vietnam when he realized that he had survived so much that there was a spirit within him,
Yes.
something so much bigger than him
Right.
that had saved him, but it wasn't the traditional Catholic upbringing that feels he was forced into. I wanted to hear about that journey, that change,
Right.
and kind of like that rebirth.
Wow, wouldn't that be a great book and a great movie? And how many times have we seen movies and read books where we tried to quote Americanize Native Americans, African Americans, when we tried to bring them and sort of beat our culture into them.
Right.
God loves you. Now put on these shackles,
Right.
and repeat after me. I would totally read that book
You
because
should write that, Anna.
Yeah, I mean,
You're a
it's-
writer.
I don't think I've had that experience yet.
Yeah, well, I think there's something fascinating about it. And I wanted to know about his spirit guides, his personal spirit
I
guides,
know.
if he
I
was
did
willing
too.
to share that.
Yeah.
Because I found all of the years that, and I'm not dogging religion, I'm really not. I have a bad habit of blanketing that. So I love that you pointed that out. I'm bad about saying religion is da-da-da-da-da, and it's not usually complimentary da-da-da-da-da. I feel more energy, more love, more connection, more spirit, more soul energy when I'm doing almost anything spiritual, not religious, but spiritual. And whenever I'm walking through something as simple as Runyon Canyon, or whenever I'm sitting with my feet in a creek, that for me is God frequency. That's
Right.
the great spirit, or it, or the creator as he described it. I never once, and I have to tell you, never once felt that energy in any structured religion or church that I was in. I felt like it was regurgitated material. I can recite lines from a Bible. I can tell you what my father's father said and why it's the law. But I don't have any feeling, any heart, any of that grounded balance to back it up. I'm simply regurgitating. And there's a big difference in the feeling, the dead feeling of that, and needing to be right. And then what he was speaking of, you could feel his light bubbling out in him when he would talk about the sun ceremony, or talk
He's very
about the
proud of that.
spirit guides, or the holy men and the holy women. That's the kind of thing I love from the inside out. And that's what I want to take away from this the most.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I hope he comes back soon. And but what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and we have an amazing guest coming on. It kind of tied into kind of what he said about
the very top.
I know, it's like, oh my gosh, he's talking about the Civil
Civil
War.
War.
And now we're transitioning into our next guest, Harry Jones, who is the curator for the African American Civil War Memorial and Museum in Washington, D.C. He is. He's going to be so fascinating because we're going to find out how much, again, history has not told us how, I think 10% of the Union Army was African American soldiers, which made a huge difference in winning the war. Huge difference. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have Harry Jones. All right, be right back.